Hey, what's going on? Luke here, and as we go into the 2022 season for the NRL, we're going to be going ahead and we're going to be taking a look at some of the signings that some of the teams have been making. Now, I've already done the Bulldogs, I've already done the Broncos, but today's video we're going to be doing the Cronulla-Sutherland Sharks. Now, we're just about to get into the signings for the Sharks, but before we do so, I just need to take the time to say, if you happen to enjoy this video, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, make sure to use the notification bell. Don't rely on the sub boxes. Don't rely on the suggested videos. Use the notification bell and never miss any of my videos. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and give me a follow on social media. It's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke on YT for the most part. My Facebook is Mr. Luke, but everything else, including Snapchat, including TikTok, is Mr. Luke on YT. Go ahead and give me a follow. Give me an ad, do that sort of stuff. Also, go ahead and check out some of the merch. There is the design on the screen right now. I made this through Spreadshop. Go ahead and cop some of your own. Link is in the description below. Also, I need to mention the sponsor of this video. Thank you very much for being on board the channel. The sponsor is Manscaped. Who is the best in men's below the waist, grooming champions of the world? Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, all across Australia and New Zealand. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code MrLuke at manscaped.com. Now, I've been on the lookout for a new razor to use, and honestly, I never used an electric one because, well, I can't really grow a beard, so I've never really had a reason to have one, but I do need something for the other areas. But I wasn't sure about using an electric trimmer. But let me tell you, the Lawnmower 4.0 works. It's as simple as that. And I'm a bit of a rookie in this field. I've been in the Rookie of the Year calculations for the Dally M's rather than the actual Dally M medal itself. At least in terms of this sort of stuff. But thanks to the advanced skin-safe technology, which reduces grooming injuries, my nether regions are as safe as Nathan Cleary kicking a conversion from the sideline. The Lawnmower 4.0 charges wirelessly, is waterproof so you can use it in the shower, and even has a couple different lengths you can cut to. So I might even have to try it on my actual hair, seeing as I can't get to the hairdressers. Actually, since filming this, I actually did get a haircut, and I'll be honest, I didn't actually use Manscaped. But let's just imagine I did. Let's not ruin the story. Let's just go with it. Fellas, it's time to make trimming your time and not a chore. Make me time the best time and go ahead and try the Lawnmower 4.0. Like I said earlier, I have a discount code which is MrLuke, which can be used at manscaped.com. The link is in the description below as well as the discount code. Guys, can't stress this enough. Support the people who support me, and more importantly, support Manscaped. And the Cronulla-Sutherland Sharks, they are one of the sides that have done a big rebuild, and actually, I will say, they haven't actually done as big as a rebuild as what you probably think. Now, in my streams, I get lots of questions of, oh, what do you think of the Sharks? And a lot of times, I go, oh, well, they haven't actually made that many signings, and when you actually go through and look who they've signed, they haven't actually made a lot of signings, but they made some very, very key signings. The first one being the coach is the main one. Craig Fitzgibbon comes across from the Sydney Roosters. He's been the assistant for quite some time, I'm pretty sure. He's done some work for New South Wales. Fantastic player back in the day as well, Craig Fitzgibbon. Probably an underrated player if we're being honest. But in terms of the coaching credibility, I think he's got a lot of it, to be honest. He's been with the Roosters. They've been winning premierships. They've been a consistent threat every year that he's been there pretty much. So I'm keen to see how he goes. Obviously, there was a lot of controversy with John Morris, and I think they really handled it pretty poorly, the Cronulla Sharks. But everything else, I think they've handled quite well. And I think the frustrating thing for probably Cronulla fans and just fans in general was the fact that we knew Craig Fitzgibbon was probably going to be a decent coach and a good signing, but we didn't want to see John Morris get treated the way he did. So yeah, I understand the signing of Craig Fitzgibbon and I fully back it. I think it would be a great coach for them. I'm intrigued to see how they go with him and whether he tries to implement a Rooster sort of strategy like we saw Trent Barrett come across from Penrith, and obviously Penrith won the premiership this past season. But all the lead up going into 2021 for the Bulldogs and for Trent Barrett, even Penrith, was that he was the attacking coach, and the biggest strength of Penrith in 2021 was the attack. So you were sort of thinking, oh, is Trent Barrett just going to try and implement everything at the Bulldogs, or what is he actually going to do? And for me, I feel like he tried to just come across and just play the exact same way, but just with the Bulldogs players. And instead of having a premiership winning side, he had pretty much a reserve grade side, and he was trying to do the same stuff. So whether Craig Fitzgibbon just takes everything that he knows at the Roosters and tries to just work with the players that he's got at the Sharks, or does he come up with his own strategy? It's definitely going to be interesting to see. Now, I can talk about the players they've signed, but we need to talk about the players they've let go first. So we're going to be talking about them. You can see on the screen right now the players that they've let go. We have Will Chambers, we have Josh Dugan, Shaun Johnson, Billy Magoulias, Chad Townsend, and Aaron Wood. So let's be honest, none of those players are real huge losses. Shaun Johnson, you can argue, is a big loss. I think he actually had pretty good seasons with the Sharks. I thought he was sort of coming into his element, and I think he's a good signing for the Warriors. But I think going forward, he's probably not the one that you want if you're a Sharks supporter or if you're a Sharks coach. Yes, he's going to get you a good year this year, but going forward, who knows? He's just come off a big injury. Is he going to return to form in 2022? Who knows? But for the rest of them, Josh Dugan, he's pretty much, he was washed up as it was this year, and he's on big money. So honestly, if you're a Sharks fan, good riddance. Josh Dugan didn't really offer too much. I think he was signed, I don't know if you'd sign him as a center or a fullback, but I'm pretty sure he was signed on some decent coin. So the fact that he's been there and he's been in and out of the side, and He's just controversial. I think any team is better off without Josh Dugan. As much as the talent he is on the field, he's never fit. So I think it's good for the Sharks to get rid of Josh Dugan. Will Chambers was a mid-season signing. Don't really have too many thoughts on that one. It was kind of just a stopgap, I guess. Same can be said for Billy McGulius. He was kind of a reserve grader, so not too big of a loss there. Aaron Woods, I thought he was sort of underrated for them in a sense. It's weird because of all these years of Aaron Woods being overrated. Kind of went to the Sharks and there was no plaudits, but there was still sort of that reputation of being, oh yeah, this is Aaron Woods. I don't know how he made the Australian side. I don't know how he made the New South Wales side. Went to the Bulldogs, huge money, flopped there, and they end up at the Sharks. But if you actually look at how he played, he was decent. He was definitely a first grader, but he just wasn't this superstar prop. So I believe he's actually signed for the Dragons. So I think it might actually be a decent little signing for them. But realistically, the only big loss out of all of those guys is, like I said, Shaun Johnson. He's the only one who I feel like would have an impact on a game. The rest of them are kind of they're just solid. They're kind of just there. Josh Dugan back in the day would have been, but yeah, definitely Shaun Johnson is the only one I can look at and say, yeah, he's going to be a loss. Even Chad Townsend, like he signed a big money contract with the Cowboys, but they let him go early to go to the Warriors. He got injured immediately, and the fact that they were willing to let him go so easily and so early in the season, I think it says a lot about Chad Townsend, where he's at in his career. He's gone to the Cowboys, like I said, a big money contract, and I think they've sort of dodged a bullet there. I think even with the guys like Trindle, or like they didn't even know who was going to be the halves partners. Is it going to be Matt Moylan? Who's it going to be in the halves for the Sharks, apart from Nico Hines? But put it this way, Chad Townsend signed a big money deal with the Cowboys, but he's not a guarantee to play. So it kind of says a lot about Townsend. But we've talked about the players they've lost. Let's take a look at the players that they have gained. So the first one, I've already talked about, Craig Fitzgibbon. Let's move on to the first signing that they actually made. This is one that you kind of forget that they actually did because it happened so long ago. But Cameron McInnes, he signed before the 2021 season had started. He got a big season-ending injury. It was a lot of talk about where McInnes was going to end up because he was playing hooker. There was a lot of talk about going to, I think it was maybe the Tigers or someone, going there, maybe even like the Bulldogs or something like that. But instead, he ended up at the Sharks. And the first thought was, well, where's he going to play at the Sharks? You've got Blake Brayley there. They just let go of Jaden Brayley. Like, Blake Brayley was the future of the club, and I believe he still is, from more reports, I guess. He's been pretty good for the last couple of seasons, so it was sort of looking at that and went, you've paid big money for him to get him from the Dragons, yet the position he plays is already covered. Now, the talk now is that he's going to be a 13, and with how the game's going, he definitely fits the mold of a 13. Now, I don't know if he's the ideal 13. I don't know if he's someone who I'd want to pay big money for. He is a guy who does a lot of tackling. He can pass pretty decently. I don't know how creative he is. That's the one thing about Cameron McInnes, is that as a hooker, good tackler, will get through a lot of work. He's got a great motor on him, but he's never been someone who was an attacking weapon, like your Damien Cooks and such. Back in the day, there was a lot of talk about, is it going to be Cameron McInnes or is it going to be Damien Cook to play for New South Wales? And at the moment, it's easily Damien Cook. Like Cameron McInnes going on a couple of years, you can definitely see Damien Cook went like this and Cameron McInnes just kind of stayed where it was. And is that down to the fact that the Dragons are pretty poor and it's just the team at the Dragons? Possibly, but I think Cameron McInnes, his style of hooker, I think it's definitely gone past that point. And in the same token, we never really seen him play lock that much. I know he's played a little bit at the Dragons, and when they shifted Ben Hunt into hook position, I feel like they actually looked like a better side than when Cameron McInnes was playing there. So, I do rate Cameron McInnes as a hooker, and I would love if the Bulldogs signed him, but just in the sense of the Sharks signed him to be the 13 and be the leader of the side, I don't know if that's going to work out long term, because like I said, he missed the whole season this year. Could be good, it could be bad. He could be nice and fresh going into 2022, or it could be a bit underdone and need some time to adjust to all the new rules, because he's just missed one whole year of all these new rules and the game speeding up once again. So we'll see how McInnes goes, but in terms of an actual overall signing, I think it is a pretty good one. I think going forward, he's going to add a lot of leadership, and I think that's going to be the general sort of theme to these guys, is that they've added a lot of leadership. The Sharks, they've been making 8 the last couple of years, but they just haven't had those leaders to get them over the line in those tight games, or even just get them in amongst the actual big boys. Like I said, they've been making 8, but they sort of just been making up the numbers. So for them to go from being just a top 8 side to being a top 4 side, they need leaders, and they've signed a lot of them. Let's talk about the next guy. We're going to be talking about Nico Hines. I think he's a big signing for them. Obviously, had a great season at the Storm, and I think because he's only had that one good season at the Storm, you can kind of get him for a deal that's probably unders for him. If he comes out and has a really good season for the Sharks, his value would have gone up even more. Even at the Storm, if he had another good season with them, he could have easily been like an $800,000, $900,000 player. They sort of got him for unders, in my opinion. I know it's a big risk because he's only played fullback at the Storm, and you're chucking him in the halves, but apparently he was a half growing up, and he's only really played fullback just for the Storm the last couple of years because of injuries and such. But look, I think it is a risk worth taking for Nico Hines. A lot of teams after him, and the Sharks ended up landing him. It was actually a bit of a surprising one for me because I didn't really think of him going to the Sharks, because I was like, oh yeah, Will Kennedy's there. Will Kennedy's pretty much their best player at this point. So why would you need to sign Nico Hines? But then the plan for him to play in the halves came out, and like I said, I don't think this is a guaranteed successful signing. There is definitely a big risk to this one, but I think this is a risk worth taking. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple seasons he gets moved on, or he moves to the fullback position, or moves to the centers or something. Although Will Kennedy's been amazing, Nico Hines I think has got a higher ceiling than Will Kennedy, but we'll see how it goes. I think it is a good signing, and I think in terms of your halves, I think it is a good signing, but they just needed to sign someone or have someone in the wings to actually be the dominant half, and they haven't got that. So that's going to be interesting, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. Now, the next player we're going to be talking about is not a guy with a lot of experience, and he's not really a leader. It's Matt Ikuvalu. He's just signed recently. I believe yesterday he just signed. I was doing a stream, and a lot of people were saying, what are your thoughts on Ikuvalu signing with the Sharks? And I was like, what do you mean? He's going to be playing for the Roosters this year. Surely he's going to be on the wing, and yet he's not going to be on the wing. He's going to, well, he might be for the Sharks, but look, going forward for Ikuvalu, I don't know if the Sharks is the best spot for him. He's definitely going to be in the contest to be a winger for them. It's just a bit of a strange one, because I just assumed he was going to be a Rooster winger this year. I know they had Sawali and a couple of players in the backs. They just signed Momorowski, so they do have players who can play in the wing for them. But I just kind of assumed Ikuvalu was going to be the winger. It was just going to be him and Daniel Tupou, and then obviously he signed just out of the blue. It seemed like out of nowhere, so I haven't really had too many thoughts on this one. It is very fresh, but in terms of a guy with a lot of potential, and he's quite young, but has come from a good system, it can go two ways. Either he gets exposed because he's out of the Roosters side, or he takes a lot of the characteristics from the Roosters and brings it to the Sharks. So I don't really know how it's going to go. Honestly, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say he might get exposed at the Sharks. I feel like the Roosters might have carried him a little bit. Probably a lot of the guys last season, if you chuck them into other sides, they don't do too well. It's a lot easier playing with James Tedesco than it is playing with a lot of the other guys. So, look, Ikuvalu is going to be an interesting one, but I think it's also another risk worth taking, because I feel like he wouldn't be signed on huge money. So, if it works out, it works out. If not, you still got Mulatalo, you still got Katoa, you still got a lot of these other good guys. So, I believe it's just a depth signing. Also, adding the fact that Craig Fitzgibbon has just come from the Roosters. He just signed Ikuvalu from the Roosters, so he must see something in him. So, keep that in mind as well. Now, the next player, and actually the final player of this video, it seems weird. All of the talk about the Sharks rebuilding, and this is the last player already. And even before that, Ikuvalu only signed yesterday. So there was only 3 other players, or 3 in total. And the player we're going to be talking about is Dale Finucane, who signed for the Melbourne Storm. The most high-profile signing, there's a lot of talk about the Tigers and all these other sides signing Dale Finucane, even staying at the Storm, but the money just wasn't right at the Storm. I feel like in a perfect world, he would have stayed at the Storm, and Craig Bellamy absolutely loves him by all reports, so he definitely fits the mold of a Melbourne Storm player. Does he fit the mold of a Cronulla Sharks player? I think he does as well. You look at some of the previous forwards they've had, you've got those tough guys, those guys like Paul Gallen and your Luke Lewises and such. Even Wade Graham, who's still there. Very sort of similar. Not in the sense that Dale Finucane plays exactly like them, but just the fact that he's tough, he's gritty, and he's got great leadership about him. So I think Dale Finucane will just add that leadership that they've been missing. And even in terms of, they've had players there, but they've been injured a lot. You guys like Wade Graham. He is a good leader, but he's just been injured a lot. So if they can keep a lot of those guys on the park, I think they'll be hard to beat in 2022, to be honest. I don't think they're premiership contenders, but I think they'll be right up there in terms of the top 8, pushing for a top 4. I don't know if they're going to get the top 4, but guys like Dale Finucane are going to help massively, not only in the sense that he's a good player, but like I said, the leadership, just when you get into those tough positions in games and you're like, oh shit, what do we do? Dale Finucane can just go, all right, calm down, boys, we got this, we can win this one. Now, he signed a fairly long contract, and for his age, I feel like it is quite lengthy, especially for the amount that they're probably paying him. So I don't know if that's good long term, but in terms of the next couple of years, I think that's all they need to focus on with his signing. Then hopefully your Jack Williams and all those sort of guys can come through the ranks and take over. But yeah, Finucane, I think he's going to be a great signing. I think he'll play prop, and then Cameron McInnes will play a lock. So you got a couple good players come into the side immediately. Add in the fact that they've got guys like Metcalf in the wings as well, could potentially come into the halves. You've got Nico Hines, though, he's definitely going to be in the halves. I think they have a lot to work with this Sharks side, and the fact that they've been making 8 with the side that they had previously, I think it puts them in a pretty good position going into 2022. But guys, that's my thoughts on these signings. Overall, I think they've actually made some really, really good signings. Would have been nice if they could have made a few more, maybe a few more key signings, but the ones that they've absolutely nailed in my opinion. So let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts of the Cronulla-Sutherland Sharks signings in 2022? Now that's where I'm going to end this video. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also make sure to use the notification bell. Don't rely on the sub boxes. Use the notification bell and never miss any of my videos. Also while you're at it, go ahead and give me a follow on social media. It's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke and YT for the most part. My Facebook is Mr. Luke, but everything else, including TikTok, including Snapchat, is Mr. Luke and YT. So go ahead and give me a follow, give me an ad. Also go ahead and cop some of the merch. Design is on the screen right now. If you happen to enjoy that design, go and check out the rest of them. Like I said, link is in the description below. I made it through Spreadshop. Go and cop some of the merch. Also, I need to give a mention to the sponsor of this video, Manscaped. I talk about it every video. Manscaped, it's such a good product, especially the Lawnmower 4.0. Go ahead and grab that Lawnmower 4.0. Use my discount code. It's Mr. Luke. It gives you 20% off and it gives you free shipping worldwide. You don't want to miss out and your balls will definitely thank you. Actually, I'll thank you as well if you go ahead and use my code. Mr. Luke, 20% off, free shipping. Go ahead and use it. Anyways, that's where I'm at in this video. Also, let me know in the comment section below, is there any other teams you want me to go ahead and review their signings? I feel like I've done some of the main ones that have made huge signings, but I feel like teams like Warriors and stuff have also made some big signings as well, so might be able to do teams like them. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below any other teams you want to see me do. But yeah, that's where I'm going to end this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more content on the channel. Come check out my stream. It's going to be streaming tonight, so go ahead and check that out. But like I said, stay tuned for more content on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. See yous.